we are kicking things off right now with major geopolitical shifts. U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to significantly raise the issues surrounding U.S. arms sales to Taiwan and the imprisonment of media tycoon Jimmy Lai during upcoming talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. This is a massive development signaling potential high-stakes maneuvering in the Taiwan Strait.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This ALEN 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the complex calculus of the U.S.-China summit. U.S. officials are reportedly pushing China to pressure Tehran regarding oil revenues and dual-use exports, while Beijing remains focused on avoiding disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. This is all happening amidst persistent trade frictions and an accelerating race in artificial intelligence, with Washington urgently seeking direct communication channels with Beijing to manage AI security risks. We shift focus to the technological frontier. European Union officials have confirmed deep discussions with OpenAI and Anthropic regarding how their leading AI models will comply with the bloc's new AI Act. The goal here is to move beyond abstract principles toward concrete, enforceable guidelines to manage the systemic risks posed by these powerful frontier AI systems. Finally, we dive into Taiwan's defense strategy. The Taiwanese legislature has slashed its defense acquisition budget, which critics say severely weakens the porcupine strategy advocated by President Lai Ching-te, just as President Trump prepares for his critical meeting with President Xi Jinping. We break down what this budget cut means for Taiwan's future and what the implications are for regional security. Stay with us for the full analysis. U.S. President Donald Trump announced Monday that he intends to raise the issues of U.S. arms sales to Taiwan and the imprisonment of media tycoon Jimmy Lai during upcoming talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing this week. The discussion is set against a backdrop of ongoing tensions, as China maintains a claim over the island, a position Taiwan firmly rejects. Washington adheres to a one-China policy, recognizing China's stance while remaining non-committal on Taiwan's sovereignty, despite the U.S. being Taiwan's most significant international supporter and legally obligated to assist with its defense. Arms transfers have historically been a point of friction in U.S.-China relations, highlighted by Trump's December announcement of the largest-ever U.S. weapons package for Taiwan, valued at over $11 billion. Recent efforts by the Republican president's aides have pushed Taiwan to commit further funds to its defense, though a U.S. official indicated that the Trump-Xi summit signaled no shift in policy regarding Taiwan. Speaking to reporters, Trump expressed skepticism that tensions over the island would escalate during his term. In response, Taiwan's foreign ministry spokesperson, Hsiao Quangwai, confirmed that the Trump administration continues to reaffirm its support, including the aforementioned $11 billion arms package. Furthermore, Trump stated he would raise the case of Jimmy Lai, a veteran pro-democracy advocate and prominent critic of China in Hong Kong, with his Chinese counterpart. Lai was sentenced to 20 years in jail in February on charges including conspiracy with foreign forces and publishing seditious materials, a case that drew global attention to the security crackdown in Hong Kong. Trump also indicated he would address the arrest of Pastor Jin Mingri, the founder of Zion Church, who was detained late last year following new regulations from China's top religion regulator that restricted unauthorized online preaching and deemed it foreign collusion. A high-stakes diplomatic maneuvering is underway between the United States and China, with discussions extending far beyond the territorial dispute over Taiwan. Washington is actively seeking to pressure Beijing to engage with Tehran, aiming to influence Iran's policies regarding oil revenues, dual-use exports, and networks potentially linked to weapons proliferation. Conversely, China remains heavily reliant on Middle Eastern energy supplies and is wary of both the collapse of the Iranian regime and any significant disruption to the Strait of Hormuz. These complex negotiations are unfolding amidst persistent trade frictions and an ongoing technological race, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence. In the realm of AI governance, tensions are escalating, prompting U.S. officials to openly discuss establishing direct communication channels with Beijing to mitigate security risks associated with advanced AI models. Washington is increasingly framing AI instability not merely as a technological policy concern, but as a critical security challenge. Meanwhile, the European Union is taking a proactive approach to regulating frontier AI. Officials have confirmed discussions with leading developers, including OpenAI and Anthropic, focusing on ensuring their large-scale models comply with the forthcoming EU AI Act. The objective is to establish concrete, enforceable guidelines rather than abstract principles. Complementing this, the Commission is developing a voluntary code of practice to assist companies navigating the regulatory landscape before full legislation is enacted. Regulating frontier AI presents unique challenges due to the constantly evolving nature of these systems, necessitating mandates for disclosure requirements. Beyond geopolitical and technological flashpoints, significant developments are occurring in the energy sector. In the UK, E.ON's planned acquisition of OVO Energy could position it as the nation's largest household energy supplier. This strategic move is driven by the need for infrastructure and ecosystem control to build financial resilience, especially following market corrections from the 2021 and 2022 gas crises. While the deal faces potential regulatory scrutiny regarding market share and political sensitivity around household energy costs, proponents argue that merging smaller suppliers is crucial for funding long-term electrification infrastructure. In parallel, European banking is demonstrating a strong commitment to sustainable finance, with Spanish banks investing €29 billion in sustainable activities during the quarter, reaffirming their commitment to financing €700 billion in sustainable business between 2025 and 2029. This financing activity is shifting focus from sustainability-linked products toward essential infrastructure needs, including renewable deployment, grid expansion, and energy security, positioning commercial banks as vital intermediaries in the energy transition. The Taiwan Association has announced plans to invite mainland artists, such as Zhang Ling, to Taiwan for cultural exchanges this year, according to a report by the Global Times. This initiative aims to foster cultural dialogue between the two regions. The announcement was made in the context of ongoing Cross-Strait cultural cooperation efforts. The news also featured a photograph of Wang Shanqi, the founding chairman of the Taipei Artist Agency Association, speaking at the Cross-Straits Performing Arts Cooperation Forum, which was part of the third Cross-Strait Chinese Culture Summit held in Beijing on Monday. The broader cultural landscape is also noted, referencing upcoming projects, including a historical drama slated for the first months of 2026, set during the tumultuous Five Dynasties, 907-960, and Ten Kingdoms period, which will share a similar language background, cultural roots, and contemporary internet trends characterized by increasing digital interactions. Furthermore, a separate cultural event was highlighted, involving a group of over 120 youths carrying solemn statues of the sea goddess Mazu, with 10 young people participating in the display. Taiwan's legislature has significantly reduced its defense acquisition budget, undermining the government's strategy to build a porcupine defense system and impacting the island's strategic credibility ahead of critical U.S.-China diplomatic engagements. On May 8th, the legislature approved only approximately $25 billion for defense spending, a substantial cut from President Lai Ching-te's proposal to spend around $40 billion on weaponry through 2033. This proposal was designed to demonstrate Taiwan's commitment to defense capabilities to the United States, amid ongoing pressure from U.S. officials for increased military spending. The final approval, dominated by China-friendly opposition parties, focused the spending primarily on U.S. arms, covering an order for U.S. weaponry valued over $11 billion, including artillery, drones, and Javelin anti-tank missiles. The approved funding also encompasses another potential package for U.S. weapons, reportedly worth at least $13 billion, which the U.S. is reportedly holding off on approving until after President Trump meets with President Xi Jinping on May 14th and 15th. Crucially, domestic spending was significantly curtailed, with funds earmarked for 200,000 drones being cut by lawmakers from the Kuomintang, KMT, and Taiwan People's Party. Military analyst Arthur Ding warned that this reduction weakens Taiwan's defense capabilities, noting that modern warfare, evidenced by conflicts in Ukraine and Iran, necessitates cheap, numerous drones, essential for the porcupine strategy to counter a larger neighbor. He stressed that relying on indigenous weaponry is vital for self-reliance, especially given the uncertainty of a conflict with China. Opposition parties' resistance stems from concerns over transparency and potential corruption in large domestic spending plans, citing past procurement scandals. However, analysts suggest this resistance may also reflect an ingrained military mindset favoring expensive equipment over cheaper, indigenous systems. Conversely, some within the opposition, like former KMT Deputy Defense Minister Andrew Yang, remain optimistic about the authorized $15 billion, suggesting that clearer details on indigenous weapon acquisition processes would unlock further funding in subsequent budgets. Experts caution that the diminished budget undermines the ruling party's credibility in defense policy and foreign relations. A State Department spokesman indicated that while the passage of the initial budget was encouraging, further delays in funding remaining capabilities are viewed by the U.S. as a concession to the Chinese Communist Party.